Hi everyone, welcome to the ALTCOIN Bible today. Just a reminder, if you want the full version of the ALTCOIN Bible, make sure to become a newsletter subscriber, and you can see all the range of cryptos I cover there, and I actually go into a few more than usual. Also a reminder, if you weren't aware, these sessions, including the extended sessions, are available on podcasts. So we have it in the iTunes app and also on Spotify. So if you weren't aware, there is that. So you can walk around. I am going to be a bit more conscious about when I'm describing the charts, and what I'm saying is visually. So you can listen to it on the run and actually understand what I'm talking about versus me just staring at the screen and saying X, Y, and Z. I'm doing my best. I will try to keep that in the back of my mind. But again, thank you if you are a subscriber. If you are listening to us on podcast, if you're seeing our sessions and then seeing the price action on some of these cryptos we're suggesting, which have been pretty wild of late. It's been phenomenal, and I think it's really kind of amusing. I don't trade really much what I look at here on the charts, and it's probably very handy psychologically to do that, because sometimes when you've got skin in the game, it can change your bias and how you look at charts. So I love doing these altcoin Bible sessions, so I'm going in and it's just a very clear mind looking at the chart. Like, is it good, is it bad, what am I seeing? There's no outside impetus around that. So let me crack in. I want to talk about that all day. So let's just have a look. I've got some really interesting cryptos to show you here. Now, if you are following our newsletter, in the last Thursday of every single month, we have a top 10. Now, Beam is our choice right now for the gaming exposure crypto, essentially. We think it's a great umbrella crypto, which gives you exposure to that space like an S&P 500 type situation. So I want to keep an eye on it, and I've been noticing that it has been doing exactly what we wanted it to do, very much like Bitcoin before it, raced up to 90,000 wherever it is now. Is this breakup trend? So we saw this vicious downtrend, and then it broke it through here, but then we wanted to see a consistent, sustainable move here to create that new trend that we can be really confident that it is going higher. And you can see here we've got these higher highs, so through there, and then higher lows. So the series, you can see here, it's just doing this really nice move. And then we've finally got a new higher high up here, and it broke this overhead resistance, which you can see how important it was there, and there. So for anyone listening to this, it's around about 0.02 where Beam has been really struggling to break up. And it was my level. I had an alert right there. If it broke through and closed above it, then I'm getting really excited about Beam in this area here, which is again running back down to say that 20 cent level. But anywhere between here and there is a really great buy zone for Beam. And importantly right now is it's on top of all the moving averages, the 20, the 100, the 50, the 200. So that's really nice, and they're all shaping up. And importantly as well, it's above the point of control over here, which is the highest tradable volume in this entire price action of Beam. Beam's a relatively new crypto. It migrated over from Merit Circle, but we're looking at this chart exclusively. And this area in the middle is where the highest amount of volume is positioned. So if that's the case and we're on top of it, we're in a really good spot, because it indicates that we've got a really strong floor beneath us. Now, from this point, I think we want to see a few more closes here, but importantly, I think our sell levels that are in our newsletter here, you can see on the charts at, we've already reached the 0.02 level, of course, but now we're into that breakout level territory, where we can start to look at that 0.027 level, which is right around, let me just go back to right around this area here, where you can see there's a wick over here. Price action sort of held up above this in 2021, and that's at that 28, 29 region, 0.029, 0.028 area, and that's where I think we're headed. And we should find a little bit of resistance there, or we might create a giant cup and handle, that kind of motion before we even break out. But the RSI looks really good. It's approaching the power zone above that 69.70 level. That's good. Nothing looks really bad about this chart. I just love broadly, if you're zooming out for an investment opportunity for that mid to longer term, even short term, this might be reasonably good. But if you're looking for those entry points on a crypto, you've avoided buying it in this chop down here, not knowing whether it's actually just building for a lower leg. I want to see, again, some conclusive closes above this level, but so far, so good. So Beam is my cherry ripe this week. There are some hotter cryptos out there, like memes specifically, which look a little bit hotter, but I wanted to sort of maintain a little bit of level-headedness around this. But this session and the extended session is a little bit more meme-based, and you can see here I cover SUI, WIF, And I did cover POPCAT as well, I don't know what WIF's there, and Dogecoin. But today I'm just going to skip forward to WIF. So I think Beam and WIF are kind of interchangeable. I think they both are wonder watches, and I think they both could be very easily be cherry ripe. So I think WIF is probably more a cherry ripe. I might just zoom over to the WIF chart. Everything seems to be reloading on me, guys. Apologies. Yeah, my internet just wants to not work on me. Lovely. Here we go. WIF. Okay, so WIF here, that's a cherry ripe if I've ever seen it. Unfortunately, we have the breakout. So I guess Beam is a good case study in the respect that that's what I want to see before it pulls, kind of like what WIF's doing, a much larger move. So before it moves, that's what you want to look for. On WIF here, it's had that bigger move. It's done what, WIF kind of did what Beam did down here, created this series of higher highs, higher lows, ground through a new consolidation, see a little downtrend, and then grab liquidity lower and then break up through. So really, really strong here. And WIF broadly doesn't have much price action. It's creating a series of higher highs. And now it's grappling with this, I guess, this previous tradable range up here. But right now, this looks really, really good. And we're just poking our head just under the power zone. So there's a lot of potential here for a little bit of a pullback, but, broadly upwards only. But what I want to suggest here as well, when you're looking at these cryptos, you're seeing these RSIs that are looking a bit high and whatnot. That's actually a really good thing. And I want to remind everyone that it just shows strength. We're kind of been conditioned of late to think that that isn't very good. It's about to signal a trend reversal. That's not the case at all. Most of these cryptos, when they're in those kind of regions, again, means it's strong. There's buyers coming in. It does mean there will likely be a reset, quote unquote, where these momentum indicators have to cool off, but it can manifest itself in a way such as this, where WIF could very easily consolidate sideways in a pennant or a flag or a downward wedge. You might be expecting it to come all the way back down here, but we have to keep our expectations in check, because if we're in a strong uptrending bull market where people are buying the dips and you're seeing retail come back in and wanting memes and it's just moving higher, we could just have a sideways consolidation here and allow the RSI to pull back to 50 or from 90 back to 70, and then we have that next explosion up. So that's what I'm seeing on WIF here. I don't see anything bearish about this chart whatsoever. It's gearing up for a larger push, and bull markets, you tend to have this where you have this whole, and especially newer cryptos, this whole range of just chop and nonsense, and then all of a sudden markup. This could very well be WIF's moment where it goes to doubles in price, goes to $5 essentially, makes a new all-time high. So just be aware of that. Momentum is very, very good here. Breakout on volume as well. So I like everything about this. There's really no resistance above WIF right here, apart from psychological resistance and traders just putting in levels here. But if the momentum's strong enough, it's just going to do what Dogecoin did. And I wanted to point out Dogecoin because I could look at a few other coins in terms of danger zones, but Dogecoin's a really interesting case because it's just been flying off the handle. I think it's on the weekly, it's up 300 and, let's have a look here. Let's just go from the very low to where it is now, 360%, give or take. And it's approaching its all-time highs, really not too far away from the dollar mark, the meme Doge going to $1. I actually think it gets there this cycle, but you just have to be very, very conscious. On the weekly, it is, approaching these really strong overbought levels. And also the stochastic RSI is on the weekly, crossing over at the extreme. So on the weekly, when I see that, I'm a little bit wary, and I think there is a correction of consolidation coming. Again, it's nothing to be feared. If this is a strong uptrend, so this is going vertical, it needs to cool down. If it doesn't cool down, it is going to blow off and exhaust itself, and you're going to have a big crash. So again, if you want this sustainable move in these cryptos, you want them to cool off and consolidate, and that's when we see that reset. So I'll go down to the 8 hour like it with the extended version and just show you what I mean by that. So while Dogecoin is a danger zone right now, it could very well do this kind of action. This is just gorgeous, that absolute move up. This is a bit of a red flag though, that huge volume bar, huge sell volume bar at the top. That generally marks a local top. So I'm pretty confident in this call that we're going to have a little correction here with Doge. And again, it could do absolutely this and just consolidate into this pennant and then eventually break out. Or we could just have a sideways consolidation for a bit longer, or a deeper one where we come back to say the 10 EMA, or the 20 SMA down here, grab some liquidity and just sort of range around here and climbs out of it. but this is going to try and reset. And you know, if it can hold itself up for longer, the better in terms of, you know, that appreciation. But yeah, 8 hour all looks kind of pointing down really. You know, the RSI looks more like it wants to go back to 70, maybe 50. Stoke RSI's already rolled over. So that's what I'm seeing here, guys. All these cryptos are going to need to cool off, but in bull markets, they do this all the time in terms of that consolidation before the next leg up, exactly like that. So just wanted to put that on your radar. So I hope you've enjoyed this session. I'm watching a lot of cryptos right now. Remember to watch the pairs against Bitcoin, against Solana, against Ethereum. The cryptos you're in are not outperforming the lower risk cryptos. There is really little reason to be in them right now unless you are just accumulated for a longer term investment position. If you're being dynamic with your portfolio and moving percentage points here and there, it makes absolutely no sense to move into a crypto from a low risk into a high risk if it's not outperforming the low risk. So just wanted to keep everyone's head on a swivel and making sure you're not just, you know, collecting cryptos, you're not you know, chasing green candles. Really wait for the daily close every single day and see what shakes out of the market, because this is volatility. And I know you may think you've felt volatile in the bear market. It's the opposite in the bull market to the upside. But the vicious sell-offs like we had last night, we had a pretty vicious sell-off from Bitcoin, 89,000 back to, what was it, 86, 85, something like that. Altcoins just got whacked over the head. They recovered pretty quickly, but this volatility, you got to expect it. When things get really frothy, a lot of people come in with their high leverage and leverage longs, and they just get really excited and they try and ride that wave up thinking they've got an easy ride and a free path to make free money. But no, that gets wiped out. We have those big flash crashes and whatnot. So the safest way to sort of play this is to maintain in those high convictions, those strong assets, without taking on that additional risk of leverage. This is the most volatile market in the world. You really don't want to be adding leverage to the mix unless you're confident with it and know what you're doing and it's a smaller portion of your portfolio. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, we'll see you for our next one. See you guys. Bye-bye.